with Resident Evil fans starved for any information on the seemingly elusive Resident Evil 9, well, our favorite insider, Resident Evil insider, rumor person, whatever you want to call him, Dusk Golem, had some information to provide, but it might not be the information we want to hear. And it's something I've had an eerie feeling about, and him saying it the way he did kind of makes me feel really bad. So I'll get right to the point. JillValentine does not play any major role in Resident Evil 9, and the current hospital rumor stuff is all BS, and he's basically crushing the Jill hopium now before wrong expectations are created and started. So how does it feel to be a JillValentine fan? Well, yeah, kind of like that. What is up? Hopefully you guys are having a wonderful day. Back here with some more Resident Evil content for you. And this is not going to be a very fun video that I want to make. It's not something I wanted to do or ever hoped to do, especially when talking about the elusive Resident Evil 9. But unfortunately, I'm going to have to do it because it's something I've been feeling for a little while now, and I just use my context clues, my experiences, as well as knowing Capcom's track record about the recent comments by Dusk Golem. Now, I know some people, and I know it's already going to be said before I even said it's written in the comment section itself, is that I know some people might say, well, why are we going to believe this guy? And wasn't this the guy that was all over the place last year, back and forth, and we don't need a repeat of that debacle? And I'm not going to sit up here and say necessarily that it wasn't. But I also don't think that this is a person that constantly just says random stuff just to get attention. I mean, he has been a part of this whole thing for a little while now. Sometimes he's right, sometimes he's wrong. It's not like he works for the company. He's in the office, but he hears some things and he tries to make his best educated opinions. And I'm not too one to ever say, like, hey, you know, wait to an official confirmation, which is what he basically said, even in all his stuff, you know, wait for any official news, because he basically said that just about every single thing that we've heard last year, all the rumors of Resident Evil 9, all that stuff, is basically BS. And, you know, yeah, way to put stuff down, but I'm not going to get to all the things he said, whether he's been 100% right or 100% wrong, things about he's been right or wrong. That's not the point. It's kind of the way he said this that's kind of, I just piggyback on things that I have seen from Capcom in the past, and which really gives me an eerie feeling. Because here's the number one thing I want people to understand. When I first heard the whole rumors of, oh, Leon and Jill in this game, I took that with a grain of salt. And everyone kind of ran with it without any type of, like, real sufficient official confirmation. But even without official confirmation, I just put context clues together. Resident Evil 9 has been in production longer than any Resident Evil game ever. Like, it's the longest produced Resident Evil game, period. And by the way, it looks like it's coming out to probably 2026, maybe possibly this year, but I doubt it. But who knows? My point is, I find it funny how we have never had Leon and Jill ever even meet each other, let alone star in a game, but yet magically it's going to happen because, you know, hey, magically Death Island 2023, when Jill was revealed in that movie, oh, magically because of that, now all of a sudden Jill and Leon are going to star in a game. As I said, this game's been in development for a long time, guys, well before Death Island was even made. So I just find it funny how magically Jill and Leon, I'm not saying it's not possible, but it didn't seem very probable when you look at the history. I mean, it took all the way to Resident Evil 6 before Leon and Chris could meet each other face to face. But now, magically, Jill and Leon were going to star in a game. So I just kind of took that with a grain of salt, thinking, yeah, I'm just not quite buying it. I mean, if I'll have to see it to believe it. But here's the other thing that I really want people to really focus on, is that let's go back to Death Island, because I said this when Jill was first revealed. And I think this is the trap a lot of people have fallen for. And as I said, maybe I'll be proven wrong, and I'll be happy to be proven wrong. But I said that, you know, I'm happy to see Jill come back. But people seem to forget or have, I guess, you know, memory loss, or just it doesn't dawn on them. Jill hadn't been seen at that point past Resident Evil 5 for about 14 years. I made a video a few months prior to that at New Year's Eve 2022 about why Capcom seemingly disrespects and hates Jill and Claire. By the way, if you haven't seen that video, it seems to be very relevant towards what's happening right now and what's going on, because in this event, seen it, I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to check it out. I know it's a little bit old, but still, a lot of things are still very relevant today, because everyone's like, oh, they're bringing back Jill. They're going to do her good now. They know what they're doing. We're finally getting Jill content. And I said, hold the anointing oil away. This doesn't absolve Capcom of anything. Because at the end of the day, Capcom, you include them in a CGI movie. Whoop-de-doo. Can you use them effectively in a game that people have been starved for a long time? And by these news, it doesn't look like Jill is going to be used effectively. But why am I more inclined to believe this? Guys, this is the same company that Jill was going to set for 14, 15 years. I have my theory on this, and maybe I'll do it in another video, but guys, people are saying, well, why would they bring her back in Death Island? Maybe just to get a cheap pop. And not to mention, I think, honestly, it's more, hey, it's Leon meeting Jill, not, oh, we want to bring Jill back, because they haven't done anything with Jill. And then you look at all the evidence of how Capcom has disrespected Jill. I mean, she was gone for 14, 15 years. Can you imagine that with Chris or Leon? Yeah, hell no, I could. They would never do that to those two. But, with Jill, she was gone for 15 years. When we finally got, anything, it's a CGI movie, and, it is what it is, but, look at the remakes, I know somebody said, well, the remakes, they're not new content, but look how they did Jill's remake. I mean, when it comes to the Leon remakes, oh, they go all out for that. But when it came to the Jill remake, Resident Evil 3, yeah, I don't think I have to discuss that, it's just night and day, the quality between those games and stuff. Is it ironic? I honestly, and this is just me, I don't know, but I honestly think they have no idea what they want to do with Jill. They don't know what they want to do. But one thing I do know they want money and they want sales. And honestly, here's the unfortunate truth. They don't know what they want to do with Jill, so they'll maybe just include her, but I don't think they'll use her very effectively or know what to do with her, because they haven't proven yet they can do new content with her or anything with her at that point where they actually give her a successful, respectful treatment. But when it comes to Leon, well, that's just their cash cow at this point, and, he can do no wrong in a fan base's mind. So it's like, hey, Resident Evil 9, yeah, we'll have Leon, star in it, and, maybe Jill pops up, but it'll be a small role. Is that satisfying for Jill fans? Hell no, but it doesn't surprise me because it's Capcom. Capcom's disrespecting Jill for almost 2 decades now. So is this really a surprise? And I said it back then with Death Island. Can they use her effectively in a game, where we can play as Jill and she'd be a main character? And that's the part people seem to forget, because oh, Death Island, all is forgiven. Nothing's forgiven because you haven't done anything. I mean, seriously. I mean, as I said before, it's just a theory. I think, honestly, they just try to make it, the return of Jill. I think it was just more, hey, we had our, Golden Boy, I guess fans Golden Boy, Leon, because, the guy who makes the movies is the biggest, Leon fanboy of all time. I think the guy, his name's Kobayashi, sees Leon as his own son. I mean, he's a fictional character. He's not real. It's not that deep. But, I think it's just more him just basically saying, hey, Leon met Jill more than, this is about Jill's return. But that's just me personally. I have no evidence to support all that. That's just a theory of mine. But yeah, I mean, what my point is that we kept running with all these rumors last year of, oh, Resident Evil 9 is going to do this, Resident Evil 9 is going to do that. The reality is we had no idea what they're going to do. We don't know who's even going to be the main character. Now, he hasn't jumped back on Leon. That part is kind of still there. But even so, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the main character. He might just be in the game too. But we don't know what Resident Evil 9 is going to be taking effect of. Because a lot of us just assume, hey, it's got to take off after the BSAA storyline after the end of Resident Evil Village. But no, it doesn't. Because look at Capcom's track record. How many things have they left unfinished at the end of their Resident Evil games? Revelations 1, 2. The whole Code Veronica story and stuff. How many things have they left unfinished and undone in their history? I mean, guys, it happens multiple times. I mean, seriously. they don't have to do anything. It wouldn't be the first time they've dropped the ball on something. My point being is that I just don't, until they do it, I'm still very leery. So when I hear him say that, hey, I want to crush the Jill hopium now before our expectations are set. This is the problem with all the information I had last year. None of it was ever, proven correct. Everyone just ran with it because everyone just assumed so much based on nothing. So when I hear him say that, what does he have to gain to do that? Because he knows if he's dead wrong in that, the way he said it there, then I think it's all over basically at that point. So there's no reason why I think he would say that. As I said, I don't know 100%. It just feels eerily correct. Like, this is the Capcom I unfortunately know. This is the Capcom. This is how they've treated Jill. So, people have been asking Jill to return. And I guess technically they did, but no one asked could they have a satisfying return. Like in a video game where you can play as her. She's a main character and is effective and enhances the plot. No, that's a completely different thing. So when we asked, maybe we should have been more specific. But unfortunately, and trust me, people have been specific. But once again, this is Capcom. And this is what Capcom does. So none of this stuff really surprised me. I was sad to hear it. And it's bad for a Jill fan. But are we really that surprised? Like, seriously, are we that surprised? No. I think deep down, a lot of us were hearing this and got excited, regardless of a lot of these things were confirmed or not. But unfortunately, hearing this news, this feels more reality-based. I don't know what Resident Evil 9 is going to be. No one really knows for sure. But at the end of the day, I just feel like what Dusk Golem says, this feels more true and real than anything else. It feels more believable, and that's the sad thing I want to say is I don't want to believe that Jill has no major role, or maybe possibly any role at all, period. But yeah, at the end of the day, I like to see Jill used effectively. She's one of my favorite characters. She's a character that's been disrespected so much. I think it's so criminal. I keep trying to tell this history lesson to people that Jill was the face of this franchise during the PS1 era. Before you had all the Leon hype and the Chris, it was Jill. JillValentine. Before I ever played any Resident Evil games, she was the one character I had heard of more than anyone else in the Resident Evil. It was Jill effing Valentine. But now it's like night and day, and you're just basically scrapped for any type of content with her because of how Capcom treats them. And because they put her into a CGI movie, which, by the way, you've had every CGI movie included a Leon appearance and all of them being main characters. But, oh my God, we're so happy that we finally put Jill in one of them. Yeah, thank you, Capcom. Yeah, thanks for nothing, because at the end of the day, and I don't know what physics were that guy falling from a ladder. That was just wild. But at the end of the day, that's not satisfying to us. We want to see her used in a game because it's been, I mean, technically, if you want to be honest, it's been even longer since we've really had Jill in an effective mainline entry. I know I technically include Revelations as them, but if you want to be technical, her last mainline entry in terms of being a main character was Resident Evil 3. And, I will technically include Revelations, so that's 2011 when it came out. I'm getting confused, but somewhere around that time was obviously after Resident Evil 5 when that came out in 2009, but you get the point. Like, that's how long it's been. Like, it's like a lifetime ago. Can you imagine him doing that to someone like Leon or Chris? No, because obviously the fans would cry so much that their characters haven't been used in any vicinity, let alone not having a game to star in and stuff. And it's just wild. It's wild that they do this to Jill. But honestly, at the end of the day, here's the reality. Are they wrong for doing this to Jill? Because this is the part I really want people to focus on. And this is the sad truth. And I hate to do this. I really do. But does Resident Evil really need to do anything with Jill? Because let's just be honest. We look at the sales of Resident Evil. They've been doing really well without Jill. I mean, yeah, Remake 3 did sell well, but it was not a very successful thing critically. A lot of people have bad things to say about that all the time. They always bring it up as just an absolute failure. I don't think it's the worst thing ever, not even close. I think it's a solid, good game, just not, it's the worst of the remakes, obviously. My point is that Resident Evil has proven they can sell and thrive without Jill. You had, Resident Evil 2 and 4 Remake. I mean, Resident Evil 4 Remake is on pace to being the most sold Resident Evil game of all time. It's just selling so fast and wild. I think Resident Evil 2 Remake is right about if you count all the ports, it's going to be the all-time most sold Resident Evil game. And then you look at, you know, the mainline games. Resident Evil 7 is right up there, and Resident Evil Village is going on pretty strong and stuff. And yeah, you know, here's the reality. You know, all the Leon games, they just sell better, and hell, even the Ethan games sell better. So what do you really need JillValentine for? And that's something. It hurts me to say that, but you know, I'm looking at it from a business perspective. That's probably Capcom's validation right there. It's like, hey, you know what? Fans have been crying for Jill, but, you know, when it comes to it, you know, hey, they're not these big time. We don't need them because we have big time sellers drivers. So do we really need her? Oh, you know what? We'll just include her in a CGI movie and maybe have a reference or two. That'll be enough. So technically we brought her back, right? Because it doesn't seem like they have any sort of a game plan of what they want to do with her. Like, seriously, like they have no game plan at all. And I mentioned this earlier, and I guess I'll just bring up now in this video. I've always had a theory that, honestly, I think they wanted to kill her in Resident Evil 5, but maybe someone from the higher-up stopped it, because why else would she be absent from the franchise after Resident Evil 5 for 15 years? And why is it, you know, now they brought her back, it just seems like they don't know what they want to do. They keep talking about it, but talk is cheap. Show me something. And unfortunately, they haven't shown shit. And it doesn't surprise me because, once again, it's Capcom. It's what they do. It's what they have been doing to poor Jill. And keep in mind, guys, I'm talking about JillValentine. The rest of the characters outside of Leon and Chris, shit, you're out of luck. I mean, you're basically out of luck. You're up a creek without a paddle. I mean, I basically have a whole, you know, video series talking about one and done characters that have been disrespected. If JillValentine is getting disrespected like this, what chance do they have? I mean, its franchise just seems to only want to be about, you know, they'll create a brand new character, and as I said, they did a solid job with the whole Ethan story, but, you know, then, you know, it'd just be the Chris and Leon show. It's like they don't have to do anything because, you know, sales prove it. They don't have to do anything. You know, everything else sells well, so why would they stick their neck out to do anything else? And then when they finally do a Jill thing, they half-ass it. I mean, do you think they would do Resident Evil 3 treatment for any of the Leon games? Hell no, they wouldn't. That would be absolute blasphemous for them. But they do it for Jill because, hey, you know what? Jill just isn't that big of a priority for them. And even though fans have been asking for Jill to come back, they got what they wanted, but maybe they should have asked for more and actually be specific. But unfortunately, I don't think even if they were specific, Capcom would probably care. Because at the end of the day, these games are selling more and more as they keep getting to make them, because they basically got the Resident Evil fandom by the balls because they go out and buy these things. I mean, the sales in the last few releases have been astronomical when you compare them to the older releases. They just keep getting higher and higher. So, who really needs JillValentine? Yes, us dire fans want her, but at the end of the day, Capcom doesn't seem like we need her that much. So, I hope, as I said, maybe this stuff is false, maybe it is, but just the way it was worded in my history with Capcom and seeing them over the years and how they've treated Jill, it just seems right to me. As bad as that feels to say that, it just seems correct. I shouldn't be. I'm disappointed, but I'm not surprised. And at the end of the day, you know, I'll still be excited to play Resident Evil 9, whoever it is takes the mantles or whatever, but if you're a Jill fan, it just feels like, hey, more of the same what we've suffered for. You know, you take one step forward and you take 20 steps back. And as I said, that's JillValentine. What do the rest of the characters have? They don't have a chance in hell. But unfortunately, that's just the bitter pill we're going to have to swallow. So my, you know, advice to you, Jill fans or Resident Evil fans, period, for Resident Evil 9, temper your expectations. Stop, you know, going with what everyone else says and just come at it, you know, completely clean and new, because we've now been basically gaslit for the last year thinking, oh, it's going to be a Jill Leon adventure, when in reality, it might not even be either, you know. I do believe now more than ever, it'd probably be more Leon, just because, you know, they want money, but with Jill, I'd expect the worst. So if you expect the worst, it'll, you know, soften the disappointment. But if you keep thinking so high, especially with Capcom, in terms of Jill, it's just going to get worse when it's finally revealed. And maybe I'll be shocked. And trust me, if they do have Jill prominent and she is one of the main characters of Resident Evil 9, I'll be the first person and the happiest person to be proven wrong. Let me just say that. I would love to be proven wrong. You'll not see me sad or disappointed. And you can go in the comment section and say it all day long. And I'll be, thumbs up at you all day long saying thank you. Because no one would be more happy. Because I want to see Jill brought back. And I want to see Jill used effectively in a game. Something she hasn't had in God knows how long. And actually done respect. But here's another reason why I just feel like it's just not going to happen. Something that Capcom did say with Resident Evil 9 is they want this to be a critically success as well as a financial success, as well as a brand new game, not just with the remakes. So, you saw how they did Jill in Resident Evil 3 Remake. Do you really think that they're going to go all out with Jill, as I just specified? No. But they'll go all out with Leon, which makes it more likely that he's probably going to be the one that gets in there over Jill in terms of a major prominent role. Because trust me, they'll do anything for Leon. Look at Resident Evil 2 and 4 Remake compared to 3. But at the end of the day, as I like to say, that is my opinion. I want to hear your guys' opinion. Hearing what Dusk Golem ultimately says and the way he said it basically want to tamper the Jill Copium expectations, do you feel like this gets you more excited or less excited? Are you someone that still wants to hear official confirmation, which I agree, we should too? Or just as a bad feeling, just from the fact of Capcom's track record in the past, especially how they treat Jill. Let me know down in the comment section down below. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. And hopefully I can see you guys back in the next one. Thanks, and I'll see you all later. Peace.